Good morning. Just gonna wait for a couple. Hey, Jules, first one in. Jules, hello. The dude, hello. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to join. In the meantime, if you are so inclined, Coco, hello. Smash that follow, or don't smash the follow. You're already following. Hit the screen a whole bunch. It helps bring in views. Views are only important because they make these lives more interesting. If there's nobody in here, you'll see there were no likes and there were like 6 people in here. As soon as this number starts to increase, and it's usually like right at the beginning of the live, if you all start hitting the like an hour into the live, it doesn't mean as much. It's like an early in the live thing. It just brings in a lot of people, and you'll see that number 10 is going to start to jump pretty soon. What a day. Scott Kirby. This is what I see on my end. Some comments in the live were filtered to protect the community's experience. And the filtered comment was Scott Kirby saying, well, hello. Why was that flagged? Don't know, but I unflagged it. I'm going to wait for a couple more people to join. And then we will get started with the most musty live, especially today, in all of finance TikTok. Hey, Robin. NVDA. I mean, where to begin? You guys have seen NVIDIA. The earnings were out yesterday. It was funny because I did a poll yesterday and I said, how do you think NVIDIA is going to do in the earnings? Do you think they're going to beat the earnings, or do you think they're going to miss on their earnings report? And I think it was like 60% of the people said that they were going to hit earnings and they were going to beat expectations. And, not you have, but people have of you. I think I might have missed the comment. If we smoke, is it still good to buy crypto? Don't get it. Christian, Realty Income is one of the greatest real estate investment trusts on the market today. Part of the reason that I like Realty Income, the symbol is O, by the way, if you want to look, is not only do they pay a monthly dividend, as a lot of REITs do, but I'm discovering more and more REITs or real estate investment trusts that don't pay monthly dividends. The thing I really like about Realty Income is that a lot of their properties are not office or housing related. So it's like gyms, movie theaters, grocery stores, fast food restaurants, pharmacies, stuff that people are going to go to. What 5 stocks to invest in today? I couldn't tell you. I don't give financial advice. Is it still worth it to buy NVIDIA? I mean, look, they had massive earnings, which we're going to go over a little bit later in this live, or maybe we'll just go over them now. NVIDIA is ripping today. It is up 14.5%. It is up $97. Yes, I do like crypto. It is up $97. That is insane. The headline here says, NVIDIA shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued Q1 2025 revenue guidance way above estimates. So they are continuing to grow. SCHD, I like it. It's one of the top dividend ETFs on the market. NVIDIA, their earnings were massive. Some analysts are now raising their price targets to $1,300 per share. $1,300. So the question is it too late to buy? I can't give you financial advice. The question you have to ask yourself is, 1, are you comfortable buying a stock that is hitting all-time highs almost every week? 2, do you expect a pullback simply just because of profit taking? Or do you imagine that most of the people who are holding the stock are going to hold it now for the foreseeable future? I would imagine leading into earnings, this is NVIDIA, the semiconductor chip smart technology semiconductor company. I would imagine leading into earnings, which were yesterday, I would imagine that a lot of people, we saw the stock in decline over the last few days. And I think part of it was people were hedging their bets and they thought it was going to be bad earnings. And I think part of it was people taking profits. I mean, look, there was a lot of investors who bought this stock when it was $100, $200, $300. And it just kept going and going and going. And we all know nothing goes up forever. SMCI is a prime example. That super microcomputer company was one of those stocks that I was getting asked about in my live every single day, or 3 days a week, because I go live 3 days a week. You cannot trade the VIX. You can only trade VIX adjacent investments, but the VIX isn't actually a tradable investment. It's just a fear index. Super microcomputer up today 20%, but a couple days ago it was $1,000. Now it's $876. Tony, dividends or growth. It isn't a matter of or, it's a matter of and. It's not dividends or, it's dividends and. I am a firm believer in a diversified portfolio that includes a variety of things. Now, up to you how much you want that to be focused on dividends and how much you want it to be focused on growth. Every investor is different. For me, I like more tech, I like more growth because they have higher returns, as you can see from NVIDIA. But I like a solid mix too. Like sometimes I'll make a video like I did on Procter & Gamble's dividend the other day, and it was posted on Instagram. And someone said, what's the point of even investing for just a 2 or 3% dividend? They missed the mark completely and they missed the point. It's all about insulating your portfolio to protect against a variety of things. So you want boring stocks in your portfolio because they don't provide a lot of growth, but they provide passive income and compounding over time. You also want a lot of growth stocks in your portfolio, especially if you're younger and you have more time on your side to reap the benefits. Do you still like Altria? Yes. If you had one stock or crypto, what would be the most is going to shoot up, and what would it be? Couldn't tell you. Nobody knows. Nobody has a crystal ball with the stock market. When I bought NVIDIA last year at $125 a share, I never could have imagined it would have hit $700 within a year. If I had known that, I would have bought as many shares as I possibly could have afforded. But nobody knew back then. So you don't know. We're all just kind of guessing here when we look at a stock and we say, I like this stock. I think it could do well. Nobody can predict. I mean, there were people who bought Peloton and Snapchat, and they're sitting on massive losses, even though they thought it was going to be massive winners. So if I had to pick one stock or crypto, I would pick an ETF. Which one is up to you? You could pick an S&P 500 index fund, a dividend-based, tech-based, growth-based. And if it was one crypto that I could choose, I would probably pick Bitcoin or Ethereum. Thank you for your answer, Tony. You're welcome. Is QILD still good for the dividend? It's okay for the dividend. You just have to realize that even though it pays a much higher dividend, that there are risks involved as well, as in like the fund could lose value over time. Over the last 5 years, it's down 20%. So you have to be okay with your initial investment losing value. And you're really not looking at it like, I expect this investment to grow. You're looking at it like, this is a part of my portfolio where I'm looking to get income. You think crypto bull is here? Should people buy heavy? I can't tell you what you should do with your money. This is for fresh tests. I can't tell you whether I think one thing or not is irrelevant because I'm just one person. Do I think crypto will go up in the future? Yes. How much? Nobody knows. But I can't tell you if you should buy heavy. That is your choice. Do you think the crypto 4-year bull market is here or not yet? Don't know. Morning, did O beat on earnings? I don't know. When were their earnings? It was today or yesterday? Let's see here. Their earnings came out on, the 20th. So 2 days ago. Let's see. I'm not seeing their earnings anywhere, which is really annoying. Is there any level 2 support on Wendy's? Maybe. And Wendy's looks like it has support right now at 1764. Thoughts on SCHD? I like it. Parek, what 5 stocks to invest in today? I'm always curious about the today question. Like, why today? It doesn't really matter. You're not investing for today. You're investing for the next 30 years. So you can start your portfolio now. You can buy a couple of individual stocks, ETFs, whatever you want in your portfolio. But today doesn't matter unless you're looking for a quick trade, which is different than what we're talking about here today. Let me look and see if I can find Realty Income's earnings. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Realty Income reported $1.08 billion in revenue for the quarter, representing a year-over-year increase of 21%. Pretty good. Last quarter, they did earnings per share of $1.01. The reported revenue compares with an estimate of 1.05 billion, representing a surprise of 2.42%. The company delivered earnings per share surprise of negative 98 cents, with the consensus being $1.02. So they came in a little under. While investors scrutinize revenue and earnings, blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Revenues from rentals came in at exactly the estimate of 1.03 billion. It looks like a mostly okay earnings report. This is for Realty Income. But over the last 5 days, the stock has only gone up 1.43%, which is to be expected for Realty Income. They're not a huge growth company. All right, I'm going to drop all the way down to the bottom and I'll work my way back up on the comments. Which companies do you think are the most overhyped? Supermicro is a company that's gone up 700% in like no time at all. That's insane to me. Actually, it's up 900% in the last year. It's up 200% in the last 2 months, which is insane. I'm not saying it's a bad company, but it's got a lot of hype in it right now. There are some others that have really high price to earnings ratios. I'm trying to see if I can remember what they were. I think it was like SoFi is extremely overvalued. I wouldn't say that it's overhyped right now, but it's definitely overvalued. What do you think about Wells Fargo stock after the regulators removed their hold on them after 7? I'm not sure I understand the comment, and I don't know too much about Wells Fargo. Their symbol is WFC. And sorry if I keep itching my nose, but we're dog sitting, and I'm very allergic to dogs. Wells Fargo is up 15% in the last year, 8% year to date. Pretty good. One of the headlines says not much to be excited about. They offer a 2.6% dividend, which is okay. But I don't know about the regulators. I don't know about that. The Bearded Fern, TKO making crazy money now with WWE and Vince is gone. Yes, Vince is gone. See you later. Goodbye. Thank God he's gone. If you want to separate what he's done recently with the person, he was great in the 80s and 90s with the Attitude Era, but the guy just lost touch with reality and what the fans wanted, and the product just sucked over the last few years or longer. Now it seems like it's really back on track. If you're a wrestling fan, Triple H is now running the show. The Rock is on the board. It's gonna be Attitude Era level entertainment again. Thoughts on a 2024 market crash? Couldn't tell you. Don't really care. If the market crashes, great. It's a great buying opportunity. I wouldn't be selling any of my shares. I'm up so much on my investments that I wouldn't sell to lock in profits because my cost basis is so low. So just as a prime example, I bought NVDA at $125 a share last year. It's now 700 and something, right? What is it? Let's take a look. NVIDIA is 773. Okay, so I bought it at 125. It's 773 today. If there's a recession this year and NVIDIA goes to 500, I'm still up. So if I were to sell it now thinking, oh my God, a recession is coming, and it dropped to 500, I wouldn't be able to buy back nearly as many shares as I did. Sure Bear, thank you for the heart. As I did when it was 125. So why would I sell it? Plus, I would owe taxes. And I don't really want to do that. So I don't sell my shares unless there's a reason, unless I'm looking at the company and going, I'm not into this anymore. Or I have this company, I like this company, but there's a better company over there and I'd rather invest in that. So I'll raise some capital. So, there's always a reason to sell. But for me, a recession isn't a reason to sell unless I think the company is already teetering and the recession could just be the end for them, like a new company or a company that's already got a lot of debt. Add in a recession, it's game over. Maybe I would sell then. But all I'm going to be doing if a recession happens is buy more investments. So I don't really care. Best quick trade investment. Lex, those are two different words. So trading and investing are different things. So there is no quick trade investment. There are quick trades, but investments are anything you hold for over a year. A trade is anything under a year. There are day trades. There are swing trades, which can be anywhere from 2 days to 12 months, 11 months. But there's no quick trade, and I couldn't tell you the next best one because as a stock trader, you have to look at the charts every single day, all day. What about FSR? And by the way, if you ask a question, please don't leave. I get to all the questions, or at least I try to. Fisker is 56 cents per share. It is down 91% last year. It's garbage. It's down 68% this year. It's garbage. Their grades are terrible. Their ratings are terrible. Their analysts hate it across the board. At 56 cents a share, the question that you have to ask yourself is, what am I willing to lose? Not how much am I willing to make? What am I willing to lose? If you'd bought it a year ago, it was, let me see here, $6.46. So a lot of people look at it and go, $6, wow, it's so cheap. Look at how expensive Tesla is. Look at how expensive this one is or that one is. If I buy Fisker at $6, it could go up to 80, it could go up to 90. And everyone starts breaking out their calculators and going, I could make this, I could make that. But no one ever sits down and says, it's $6.46. How much am I willing to lose? 100 shares is $646. 1,000 shares is 6,000, almost 6,500. Are you willing to lose that? Because if you had asked yourself that question, I'm willing to lose $6,500, you very well would have. It's down 91% in that time. So you would be sitting on a near 100% loss. So that's the question you have to ask yourself. Fisker is a lottery ticket. I wouldn't touch it. Too late to jump into NVIDIA. I don't know. Their guidance for 2025 is really strong. It's up 15% today. I would expect maybe a pullback over the next few days just because of profit taking, not for anything negative with the stock. I don't like buying stocks when they're at all-time highs. If you want to scroll back down on my page a couple videos, a few weeks ago, somebody asked about SMCI, and I think it was like $800 a share. And I said, at these levels, I just don't like it. It could get to 1,000 and then dump. And then sure enough, the very same day it hit 1,000 and the next day it dumped. It went from $1,004 to 700 and something. And it's up today. It's up 15% or 19%. But when I see a stock hit a new all-time high, it could continue to hit new all-time highs for 2 or 3 days in a row. But eventually it's going to pull back. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what's your time frame on this stock? You could start a position now. You could buy 5 shares. If you wanted to buy 10 shares, let's say, you could buy 2 now. Hi, Robin. Do you want to say hi to TikTok? Let's get the dog on here for a little bit. Robin. Say hi. Say hi. She hates the phone, but she loves snuggles. Robin, do you think people should buy NVIDIA stock? She's looking away, so I'm going to take that as a no. Oh, there she goes. Bye, Robin. Oy, oy, oy. If you wanted NVIDIA, would be to start a small position now, keeping in mind that you are aware that the stock is hitting all-time highs and it could pull back. If you're wrong, uh-oh, there she goes. She's running outside to get something. Sorry, I'm very allergic. One option would be, okay, you think it's going to go higher, but you could be wrong. So you could buy a couple shares now, and if you're wrong and it drops to 750 or 720 or 700, then you could come in and buy the next 2 or 3 shares for your portfolio. On the other hand, if it goes up, if it goes, hey, Matthew, thank you for the heart. If it goes to 850 or 900, then you could say, well, at least I have my 2 or 3 shares, whatever, I'm happy with that. And then from that point, you wait for a pullback and maybe it drops down to the 820s and you can buy a little bit more. You just have to keep an eye on things. If you really don't want to keep an eye on things and you're worried about the stock hitting all-time highs, some peace of mind for you should be that if you have any sort of S&P 500 or growth-based ETF, you have NVIDIA already. Do you think tech stocks will pull back out after a solid run since the election year? Since it's election year, or they will pull back? I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little pullback at some point. Just overall with the overall markets, because we're hitting all-time highs in the S&P 500 almost every week. It feels like it's 50, 55 right now, the S&P 500. The all-time high, let's see if we can see where today. Today it hit an all-time high for the S&P. It hit 5,064 and 12 cents. That's an all-time high. It's pulled back a little bit to 50, 55 right now. I think there could be a sell-off in the markets just because of everything going on, and because stocks are hitting all-time highs. Usually, people sell and take profits. I wouldn't call that a reason to panic, though. Although if you watch the media, they'll tell you it's a reason to panic. Someone continues to send me Telegram links on TikTok saying they are you, not replying. Good. Don't reply. I got a DM the other day from a woman who said that she was talking to me on my other account and it sounded like me, but she just wanted to make sure. That's the right move. I mean, by now I hope that most people realize I'm not DMing you saying, how are your investments? I'm not DMing anyone ever. If you DM me on this account, I will respond. But if you get a DM from me saying like, hi, how are your investments going? It's not me. There's no backup accounts. There's no second accounts. There's no Telegram. There's no WhatsApp community that I have. There's no Discord. I don't have any of that. So if you're getting a message saying invest with me, it's not me. You don't really have to even ask me. You don't have to say like, hey, double checking. It's not me. I get that some people don't realize or they haven't heard this message before, so they're going like, hey. But also I'll note that if you follow me today in this live, you are going to get at least 12 copycat accounts following you. You can go on, you can report them all, you can block them all, whatever you want to do. But they are not me. Someone is asking about AstraZeneca. Oh, it's Tino. Hey, Tino, what's up? AstraZeneca is down 8% last year. This year it's down 5%. I'm gonna write this one down. I've been let me see here. AZN. AstraZeneca is $63 a share. They have a dividend of 3%, which is very high. However, they have a dividend safety grade of D minus. D minus is very concerning. Anything with a C or below has a 60-something% chance of seeing a dividend cut. It's not a guarantee, but it's just something that you should be aware of, that they could cut their dividend. And if they were to cut their dividend, it could bring the stock price down dramatically. I'm trying to find the analyst forecasts for AstraZeneca. Wow. AstraZeneca is $63 a share right now. Their 1-year price target, according to their the analysts, is $95 a share. That is a huge increase. That is a 50% move to the upside, according to the analysts. Now, you should note that there are only 9 analysts covering the stock. Companies like Uber usually have 30 to 40 analysts covering them, so it's a little bit concerning that only 9 are covering it. Of those 9, 0 sells, 2 holds, 7 buy recommendations. 7 buy recommendations with an average price target of 95 and a higher price target of 196. Pretty impressive. So it's possible. Maybe these analysts have done a deep dive into this company and they're seeing that there's potential growth there. NM Cheese Steak. Thoughts on Verizon, aside from last year, the last time it was 40 was in 2012. So the reason I like Verizon right now is because the stock has gotten so crushed over the last decade. Nothing like Verizon can go down forever. It is a very large company that has a very loyal customer base. Loyal, whether they love it or not, is irrelevant. It's loyal. They use it for their phones. They use it for their home internet. They use Verizon for, cable television or whatever other services Verizon offers. It might not be a rapid growth company anymore. It might not grow at all. It might just kind of tread in this $40 range. In the last 6 months, it's up 21%. In addition to that, you get a 6.47% dividend, which is massive. And they have a dividend safety grade of C+, which is pretty good. Rajul Dal says, what should I buy today? Couldn't tell you. I don't give advice. I was looking into IVW versus an equivalent. I think an equivalent is QQQM. Uh-oh, Robin's getting a toy. Oh, Jesus. Robin, I'm busy. Oh, she's taking the toy downstairs. Good. IVW. It is a growth-based fund. Let's see here. It's pretty cool. You're right. This is for kind-hearted. It's very similar to QQQM. I'm only basing that on the holdings breakdown. QQQM is about 50% technology stocks, and IVW is 49% technology. So they're neck and neck with how much of their portfolio is tech. This pays it has a very low expense ratio, although QQQM is a little bit lower, but it really doesn't matter. QQQM is 0.15. This one is 0.18. So it's a little bit of a higher fee, but not by much. And remember, any expense ratio under 1% is technically considered low. It pays an okay dividend, just under 1%, which is nice to have that extra percent, even though when you're dealing with growth, you're not really worrying about dividends. It's up 229% in the last 10 years. QQQM hasn't been public for 10 years, so I'm going to look at QQQ because they're identical. QQQ is up 381% in the last 10 years. So better performance for sure. A slightly lower fee as well for QQQM. So you might look to QQQM instead. It just has higher growth. So whatever the companies that they're investing in, maybe they're investing in, maybe they have the same companies in their top 10 holding, but it could be that QQQM is heavier in one and IVW is heavier in another. So they have differing performance, even though they have some of the same holdings. Buy or sell Ethereum. I can't tell you what to do. Thoughts on using Fidelity as an active trader? I've never used Fidelity, so I couldn't tell you. I do know that a lot of people who I'm friends with use Fidelity and they love it. I've only ever used TD Ameritrade, which is now part of Schwab. And the reason I'm staying with Schwab, even though I think their website sucks, is because they have Thinkorswim. That's why I'm there. Investing in NVDA now. Thanks. Good luck. It's already up massive. I would not be surprised if NVIDIA pulls back a little from here, so just be careful. TKO versus UFC, they're the same thing. TKO owns UFC. It's the parent company. So UFC and WWE didn't merge, but they are under this one umbrella company now called TKO. My thoughts on Fiserv. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. It is $149 a share. It's up 31% last year. It pays no dividend, which you would expect with massive growth. It's up 12% so far this year. In the last 5 years, it's up 76%. In the last decade, it's up 414%, which is massive. Let's take a look at their one-year price target. They are also in the transaction payments and processing services financial sector. Let's go down to revenue for a second and look. Revenue is slowly climbing. So in 2019, 10 billion. In 2020, 14.8 billion. In 2021, 16.23 billion. In 2022, 17.74 billion. In 2023, 19 billion. In 2024, they're estimated to do 19.5 billion. And in 2025, they're estimated to do 21 billion. So revenue continues to grow, which is impressive. Their one-year price target, according to the analyst, is 159. They're currently 149, so it's around a 7% jump. Fiserv, not sure how you pronounce it, has 24 analysts covering the stock, 0 sells, 6 hold recommendations, 18 buy recommendations. So it has a very strong buy, according to the analysts. The highest price target is 185. The average is 159. Why DraftKings? I bought DraftKings during COVID when they closed down all the sports, right? You couldn't go to sports. Sports were closed. I think they were doing some like empty arena stuff for baseball. I know WWE did a lot of empty arena stuff during COVID. But sports were basically shut down and DraftKings tanked. And I was like, this is an opportunity. Sports betting is also always going to be popular. I didn't really realize that it was going to do as well as it ended up doing for me. I just was looking around for opportunities. I was looking at COVID when they shut down everything. I said, okay, everything's going to open back up eventually. People are overreacting. They're dumping their shares. There's opportunities here. One that I made was AMC, the movie theater. I had been trading AMC already, but when they shut down the theater, I went, I'm no longer going to trade the stock. I'm going to buy a couple thousand shares and I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to hold them and turn my trade into an investment, which usually is a bad idea. Usually traders say, well, I'll just make it an investment when they've already lost money and they don't want to sell. So they just go, well, I'll just hold it. It'll come back. Wrong. But for AMC, I was looking at it differently, and I said, I think this stock, when they say the theaters are open again, the stock is going to rip. Maybe it'll take a year, but I'm going to hold it. I could never have imagined that the GameStop and Wall Street Bets on Reddit and AMC would all be a part of this massive short squeeze. So my plan for AMC was it's $2 or $3. It's going to hit 20 in a year or two when they reopen the theaters. It was 20 prior, and I'm thinking if it gets up to 20 or even close to it, 15, 20, I would sell, and I think it could take maybe a year. It ended up happening very rapidly because of the short squeeze. But there were opportunities there. DraftKings was one of them. It's up 109% in the last 12 months. And I know people are always curious, so I'll tell you how much I'm up when it loads. Let's see here. DraftKings, I am up 174%. I bought it at $15. Will NVIDIA crash right now? Couldn't tell you. I'm sure there will be some profit taking. I wouldn't worry about it if you're a long-term holder. I'm holding mine for the next 20 years. QYLD, still good for ETFs. I think I answered that one. BK, I've been wanting to invest in TKO. What makes you have them as a long-term investment? I'm a lifelong pro wrestling fan. As you can see here, I wanted to be a pro wrestler. In 1999, when WWE went public, I was first in line to buy shares. We used my mom's stockbroker because I don't even think we really had online brokerages back then. I mean, maybe we did, but I didn't know. I was a kid. Got on the phone. My son is a huge pro wrestling fan. WWF is going public. He wants a couple hundred shares. Done. I put all my money into that stock. I had money from like walking dogs and taking care of cats in my building, shoveling cars in the winter. So I had money saved up, and I was like, I want to own what I love. So that's why I bought WWE. I've held it ever since. And when it converted to TKO, I just got TKO shares. Do you think NVIDIA will crash? A lot of people asking. Look, there's no way to say what's going to happen here, but this is a stock that's had a massive run. It's up 57% year to date. That is, in the first 2 months of the year, it is already up 57%. That's insane. Just for comparison's sake, an S&P 500 index fund year to date is up 6%. So NVIDIA just crushing everything. I would imagine that a pullback is coming. Just for profit taking, not for anything bad. Their guidance for 2025 is insane. I think I pulled up something here. Let me see if I can find it. NVIDIA shares posted revenue of $22 billion, a rise of 265% year on year. Net income, how much money they're saving, surged 769%. That is insane. And their forecast for 2025 was similar. Let me see. Fundamentally, the conditions are excellent for continued growth into 2025 and beyond. So yeah, I would imagine a pullback would happen at some point, although maybe not. Big money is in NVIDIA. Let me show you this. The majority of the shares are held by institution. 66.68% of the shares are held by institutions. This means 401ks, pensions, retirement accounts, institutions who own lots of shares, just like the Vanguards and the BlackRocks who own hundreds of millions of shares. 66% are held by institutions, which is great when things are good and really scary when things are bad, because if those funds decide we don't want it anymore, they sell those shares, boom, it tanks. Okay, I'm going to jump all the way down to the bottom, and I'll work my way back up to the top. Thoughts on LVMH? That's Louis Vuitton, right? Let's see if I can find a little screen here. I have so many windows open right now. This usually happens when I go live. I have too many browsers. Okay. Whoops. LVMH. It is currently $900 a share. I'm looking at LVMHF. I guess that's the European version. I don't know if there's LVMH. The other one that I'm familiar with, they have two. I'm not really sure what they mean. LVMUY. But let's look at the Louis Vuitton one. It's up 4% last year. It's up 11% this year. In the last 5 years, it is up 169%, which is a lot. In the last decade, it's up 388. It's a lot. It's going up a lot. You know, recessions don't matter to the wealthy. They don't care. They'll just keep buying what they want. And you know, the less fortunate also aspire to these status symbol products that Louis Vuitton sells. So if there's a strong economy and things are going well, it benefits them. Thoughts on LAC? Not familiar. Also, I think they own Sephora too. Oh, lithium. I'm asked about this stock a lot, I guess. It popped right up when I typed it in. It's down 33% this year. I'd stay away. It's a penny stock. But you got to do what you want. I don't give financial advice. Which company after NVDA do you have? I don't really understand the question. I have a lot of investments. The demand for their technology is immeasurable. I agree. NVIDIA is due for a correction, but their technicals say they'll be up 200% this year. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little... Look, I think we already saw the pullback on NVIDIA. If you look at the stock over the last couple of days, let's pull up a 1 month chart here. I think it was already kind of priced in. It was in February, in the beginning of February, it was 727, 740, it hit 740. Then it started to pull back a little bit. It was 740, then it was 721, then it was it was 730, 726, 726, 691. It pulled way back on the 20th. So 2 days ago, it was 691. It went down to 698, 660 something. Then yesterday, right before the close, it was 668. 674 is the lowest it got yesterday in anticipation of bad earnings. If you had picked up some yesterday at 674 before earnings, which is highly risky because you don't know how their earnings are going to go, you'd be very happy today. You'd be up 15%-ish. So I think the pullback already happened over the last few days. I think it was priced in, and now it's good news. Couldn't tell you. Thoughts on Walmart stock split coming up soon? You know, stock splits... People always either they love them or they hate them. I understand both cases. Another reason that companies do these stock splits is for something called the employee stock purchase plan. So if you're an employee of Walmart and you're saying, hey, every month put $200 of my paycheck into Walmart stock. Before the split, you're getting about 1 share. After the split, you're going to be getting 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 shares. So it really benefits the employees as well. They're going to be diluting their shares a little bit by doing this, but you know, that's why these things have pros and cons. Sean Ray, another person saying, is it too late? I've already answered that 50 times in this live. If you missed it, I'm going to download this live. I'll post it on YouTube later. Rivian thoughts. I love Rivian. It's speculative. I view it very much like a lottery ticket stock for myself. It's down. Oh my God. It's down 27% today. What happened? Abysmal 2024 outlook. Ouch. Well, now more than ever then, I view it as highly speculative. I might stay away from it at this point. Any VOO, I don't own VOO, I own SPLG, but an S&P 500 should be the foundation of every portfolio in my opinion. Ian says 5 shares for beginners. I can't give financial advice, and I wouldn't, as a beginner, tell you to go buy individual stocks. It's just too risky. You're just guessing. I like this one. I like that one. Maybe you pick right. Maybe you pick wrong. For beginners, ETFs are the way to go. There's a pinned video on my page that is, it says new to investing, do this. And we go over a variety of different options of ETFs for beginners. What do you think of Rivian? Answered. And Lucid, yeah, Coco. Lucid is another one. Lucid, Fisker, Rivian, these companies are all getting crushed right now. And I would imagine if Trump gets reelected, they'll get crushed even more just because he doesn't buy into this whole green energy thing. And Biden does. So Biden wants 500,000 chargers on the road by 2030, and he would be spending all this money helping these companies. But, you know, 2030 is a long way away. Whether Biden gets elected or not, these companies have to stay in business. And that's going to be the real trouble right now. A lot of these companies are losing money like crazy. Not just the cars, but the charging stations as well, the Blinks and Charge Points, EVgo, all those companies are in big trouble. Loans are expensive right now, although I imagine the rates will be cut a little bit. It makes it very hard for these businesses to stay afloat. Usually new companies go and they get very cheap loans so they can grow their business and expand. And usually new companies aren't profitable for the first 3 to 5 years. And they know this. And so they go, well, we'll just borrow lots of money and that'll keep us afloat until we become profitable, and then we'll pay back the loans. Or they'll take new loans at a cheaper rate to pay back the old. There's a lot of stuff that they can do. But they're high risk right now. Do you trade options? No, never. Coco was asking about Rivian. I hope you heard the answer. Do you care about dividend stocks going negative or just about growth? Yes, hey, Toyota Tundra guy, hello. Absolutely. I mean, look, a lot of stocks, when you're dealing with a really heavily focused tech market, the dividend stocks will go down. You can look at like the Verizon. Well, Verizon's up, but there are a lot of dividend companies right now that are down a little bit. They're down 2, 3, 5%. Or they just aren't growing right now. And that makes sense because everyone is piling their money into NVDA and Apple and Amazon and Netflix and companies that are having massive growth. So they're like, well, who cares about a 2 or 3% dividend when I can put my money in NVIDIA and be up 100%? So short term, it doesn't concern me at all. It would only concern me if the dividend paying company was losing value because of a fundamental financial reason, like revenues were on the decline, or debt was mounting, or cash flow was dwindling, and they might not be able to maintain their dividend. Olak says 3 top stocks for beginners. Check the pinned video on my page. It is investing for beginners. I can't give financial advice, but if I were new, I would pick ETFs over individual stocks every day. It's just too much of a gamble to pick the right stock. A lot of people are asking about this Lithium Americas company. It's $4. It is down 62% since going public. I would not touch it. If you wanted to throw in a little bit as a lottery ticket, I would urge you to ask yourself, how much am I comfortable losing? 100 shares is $428. Are you comfortable? Look, a year ago it was $12. It was $11.33 a year ago. A year ago, if you had looked at the stock and I said, would you be comfortable losing $1,100? And now look, it's down 60%. You would have lost 60% of that $1,100. Rivian, yes, we've talked about Rivian. We've talked about LIC. Any chance on a TikTok IPO? I mean, there have been rumors, but who knows? Did you get in on the NVIDIA dip? I bought NVIDIA last year at $125. So yeah, yes. What do you invest in to get compounding interest? Dividend stocks. So I've been a lifelong investor in individual stocks, but you can also pick ETFs. Like SCHD is a very good one. I have a playlist on dividends. I have a playlist on ETFs. In both of those playlists, dividend-paying ETFs are covered and dividend-paying stocks are also covered. Should I invest in DraftKings and Kava now? No, these are my favorites. They're not recommendations. What do you invest in to get compound interest? We already answered that. Thoughts on the Walmart split coming up? We just talked about it. I hope you heard it. If you didn't, I will be downloading this live and posting it on my YouTube channel later today, so you can go on and listen there. Trude, I don't think he's reading TikTok comments. Is this a rerun stream? No, I'm here. I'm reading everything. It says it right there. If you ask a question, wait, I will respond. There are 192 people in here right now. Earlier, there were 500 or 600. I try to answer everyone's question, so it might look like I'm not reading the questions. It is not a restream. I am not a parody account. I'm here live. Let's see. Ali49, did you ever work in industry or are you purely self-employed? Also, what terminal do you use? I've never worked in the industry. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm self-taught. I've been investing for 20 years and trading for 13. What is your forever hold? Apple, NVIDIA, stuff like that. Thoughts on WMT? I think I actually have a video in my stock fight playlist on Walmart versus Costco, so you can go check it out. Yes, Trude, I'm reading the comments. Do you invest in any eyewear companies? No. Thoughts on PayPal? Is it undervalued company or should I cut my losses? Also, is NVIDIA a growth stock? Yes. Any company that reports, I think it's 5 consecutive quarters of growth is considered a growth stock. Thoughts on WDC? WDC, Western Digital. It is currently, I'll wait for it to pull up, $55 a share. Year to date, it is up 5%. Last year, it's up 38%, almost 39%. There's no dividend, but you don't care about a dividend with growth like that. In the last 5 years, though, it's only up 16%. In the last decade, it's actually down 37%. So it looks like it might have turned around a little bit here. I think, did I close my... I closed my other browser. Well, it's moving very slowly today. WDC. I'll get a 1-year price target on Western Digital. So Western Digital currently is $54, almost $55. Their 1-year price target is $66. That is a 21% move to the upside. 18 analysts are holding the stock or covering the stock. 0 sells, 5 holds, 13 buys. Do you invest in a lot of foreign stocks? This is for Trude, who was asking if this is a restream. No, I don't invest in any foreign stocks. There's never just been really any. I mean, I had Alibaba a couple years ago, but I sold it luckily for a little profit right before it tanked. I invested once a long time ago in Luckin Coffee, the Chinese Starbucks, which was great, and now it's garbage. Or now it's up a lot, but they had some scandals going on. Have you studied Coinbase? It's volatile for me, but I think their volatility might be cooling off a little bit now that there are all these Bitcoin ETFs. I just started to invest in the market. I really appreciate your videos. They're very helpful. Odyssey, thank you so much. Someone said, can't you read? I don't know what that was for. Uber and Amazon went to Dow Industrial Average. Will that affect the price? Probably not. Thoughts on SMCI, high risk? You can check the video I posted on it a few days ago. If Trump wins, there will be a crash. I wouldn't be surprised. How do you feel about the future of lithium stocks? I'm putting some of my money. I like that you said some and not all. It really depends on. I wouldn't put too much into who's the president. But, if Trump gets reelected, he's going to cut all the funding for electric vehicles and green energy. And that's the main, that's the main source of power for these electric vehicles. The batteries are run on lithium, or they are lithium batteries. So if the funding gets cut and he really stomps out, the ability for these companies to get funding and grow, it could definitely impact lithium. I'd be very careful, especially with the election right at hand. He won't answer NVIDIA's intrinsic it's just hot air. We've been talking about NVIDIA for the last hour, man. Do you believe the analyst price targets for NVIDIA? Let me pull up the 1-year price target. Yeah, so it's currently 773. Their 1-year price target is 810. The highest price target is 1200, which is insane. But it's possible. Let's see here. Robin stock list. Have her pick out a portfolio. I bet it would be like Chewy and stuff. I'm not ambivalent on NVIDIA. I own it and I'm not selling it. Do you invest in any construction companies? No, but I like them. I mean, Biden's infrastructure plan has made these stocks kind of rally over the last few years. I never bought any. Caterpillar did very well. I'm just looking up the intrinsic value because someone's asking about it for NVIDIA. I don't remember who it was. I missed it, but they said, what's the intrinsic value? So I Googled it. The intrinsic value for NVIDIA is $46.97. It is based on discount cash flow. The intrinsic value, and this is as of yesterday. So it's very current. It says that the intrinsic value is in a range of 33 to 78, while the current market price is $6.94. Intrinsic value is the true worth of the company's stock. It is based on the company's assets, financial performance, liabilities, and growth prospects. There you have it. What do you think about ARM? I like it, but I don't own it. Robin. Hey, Miss T is in here. Hello. This guy says you are clueless on NVIDIA. I bought it in 2009. I bought it. I'm not clueless. Well, how am I clueless? My biggest loss, this is from Jim, if you're still in here. My biggest loss was Jones Soda, down 98%. Ouch. Do you have a favorite sleep company? Anything related to sleeping? No, I don't. What platform do you use? TD Ameritrade, Thinkorswim. Thoughts on PayPal and NVIDIA is a growth stock. Okay, I think I answered that one. Brody is saying, how do you know if a stock will be a good long-term investment? So I look at a couple of things. One, I look at all their fundamentals going back for the last 3 to 5 years. I want to see that growth is increasing, revenue is increasing, net income is increasing, so they're keeping more of the money they're making. I want to see that their cash and investments are increasing, assets are increasing. I don't always mind if debt is increasing as long as the other things are also increasing. Debt is sometimes good for corporations. It allows them to take loans so they can grow for cheaper. I look at free cash flow, and I'll look at what the analysts have to say. Also, I'll listen to guidance. So when a company comes out with their earnings and they say, hey, we sold all this stuff and we made all this stuff last quarter, and next quarter and next year we're expecting to do X, Y, and Z, I listen to that. Are the numbers going to increase or not? A lot of the times companies will say, we're seeing a slowdown in growth. We're seeing a slowdown in this sector or a slowdown in that sector. So all those things make me kind of step back and go, yes, I think the stock can continue to do well for the foreseeable future. For example, with NVIDIA, I bought it a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago now at $125. The reason I bought it was because I was looking around and everything was smart technology, this, that. Apple was coming out with a wearable. Apple was coming out with the VR. Facebook or Meta had a VR headset that was out, and they were expecting to sell more of them. And so when there's more and more and more smart technology coming out, maybe there's an opportunity here. That's why I bought it. Actually, for anyone who cares, I talk about this frequently. Sometimes I'll sell a stock, even though I like it, to get capital to put that money into a different investment. So when I bought NVIDIA, I had Microsoft. I was looking at Microsoft, I was looking at NVIDIA, and I said, I think NVIDIA is going to have better performance. I'm going to sell my Microsoft stock and use that money to buy NVIDIA, and that's what I did. Best boring stocks, Verizon, Ford, ET. I like ETFs instead of the individual stocks for boring dividends, but you could do a hybrid. I'm going to jump down to the bottom now, and I'll work my way up. Cotton Express, I already read out NVIDIA's intrinsic value. It's $46.97. All right, I'm jumping all the way to the bottom. I'll work my way back up. I don't own SCHD. Block stock, I think it's okay. Nice content. Where can we find the Do Your Own Research guide, please? Hey, it is on my website. It is my name. My website is kennethsuna.com. It's my name. First name, last name.com. Click on the menu. I get DMs a couple times a month from someone who says, I went on your website and I couldn't find it. You lied to me. It's in the menu. Menu is going to be down here on your phone or up there on your computer. Thoughts on TKO? At the moment, I'm kind of whatever on it. I don't know if I would buy TKO today, although I do see WWE as an entertainment company improving. I don't know how much it's going to move the stock. I think really what moved WWE stock over the last decade, which by the way outperformed Apple over the last decade, was the WWE Network, which was like their Netflix. That brought in a lot of revenue consistently year over year, and more and more and more. They sold the network to Peacock, which is NBC, so they don't have that anymore. Let's see. Thoughts on IBM decent dividend? I think IBM is okay. I don't know how their growth has been, but we're about to find out. Their dividend is 3.7% or $6.64, which is a pretty high dividend, but it's $182 a share. So to earn $664 a year in dividends, you would need to invest $18,200 because that's what it would cost you to get 100 shares. In the last year, it's up 38%, which is great. In the last 5 years, it's up 37%, which is just okay. In the last 10 years, it's only up 3%. So something has changed with the company recently where they are seeing perhaps revenue increase. The revenue still kind of looks flat. I mean, it looks like they've done 55 to 60 billion over the last couple of years every year, which is good, but it's not a massive growth company over the last 10 years. What do you think about investing in defense weapon companies with everything going on right now? As a somewhat ethical investor, I won't touch it. I don't want to profit off of war. If you don't care, they've done very well. I'll imagine they'll continue to do well because of more conflicts that I think. Thoughts on the PAVE ETF? Is that the construction one? Let's take a look. Infrastructure, yeah. So look, I think whoever is president going forward will probably have some sort of infrastructure plan. I think Joe Biden's is probably more robust because he sees fixing our infrastructure as an investment. But I think Trump will have one too. So I think either way, these companies will probably do well. In the last 5 years, no work. Well, in the last year, PAVE is up 28%, which is great. They do have an expense ratio of 0.47%. Anything over 1% is high. 0.47, not bad. It pays a little dividend of 0.65%, so not a lot in terms of a dividend. Their top 10 holdings are Eaton Corporation, I've never heard of, United Rentals, Parker Hannifin, Emerson Electric, Train Technologies, Nucor, Martin, Marietta Materials, CSX, Norfolk Southern, and Union Pacific. They only invest in 100 companies. I'm kind of surprised that like Caterpillar and John Deere aren't in the top 10 holdings. CNQ or Shell, I have them in my holdings or in my watch list. Canadian Natural Resources is $65 a share. It pays a 4% dividend, which is pretty good. I'm actually going to write that down on my little dividend list. CNQ. It's up 19% last year. It's up 138% in the last 5 years, which is great. And in the last 10 years, it's up 85%, which is also very, very good. CNQ. I'm looking to see if their 1 year price target, so currently it's 65. Their 1 year price target is 69, so a little bit. And then Shell was the other one that you're interested in. I'll just read the 1 year price target because we got to wrap this live up in a couple of minutes. Their 1 year price target is $71. It's currently 64, so it's a 12% move. Doberman says, awesome channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. 2011 to 2024, Meta gains are nowhere near 1,900%. I bought Meta on IPO day. I'll read it to you. You can hold, please. Meta went public in 2012. And I bought on, here I have January 27th, 2012. I bought it at $23.76, and I am up 1,947%. Don't know what to tell you. It's right there. I'm not blaming Trump, but I'm saying that Trump is going to cut the funding. So Joe Biden has a lot of funding for electric vehicles. He has this green energy plan that he wants to spend more money on green energy and charging and increase our charging stations all over the country. And I would just bet that Trump isn't going to do that. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not saying Trump is going to get rid of EVs. I'm just saying that he's going to probably cut funding to the part of the infrastructure that wants to expand electric vehicles. Thoughts on stocks that NVIDIA is buying. Someone asked about SoundHound the other day. NVIDIA took a little purchase in that company. It was very small. It was like 1 million shares. The stock is up 4.7% today. Year to date, it's up 86%, which is massive and largely probably due to NVIDIA and the hype around it. What do you think about NVIDIA? I've talked about it extensively, almost this whole live, which I will be downloading and posting to YouTube later today. Just wondering, why don't you options trade? I lose too much money trading options, never been able to figure it out, don't really care to figure it out. And stock trading has been more lucrative for me. Let's see. Trump wins, no question. Well, maybe. I got 10,000. What should I invest in for short term? Short term and investing are opposites. Investing is for the long term. So if you're looking to trade stocks, you're asking a different question. But if you're looking to invest for the long term, I would look into ETFs. And I have a playlist on investing by amount. Do you short anything or buy anything inverse? No, I don't usually short anything. Z has tagged me in the comments. Yes, I'm here. Do you buy or sell any stocks today? No, I didn't. I'm 16. This is for Pierre. I'm 16 and I want to invest in something safe for the long term. What should I invest in? I would recommend that you check out my pinned video on my page that says new to investing. I also have a playlist on investing by age, and there are videos in there for people who are 18 and younger. So go check out that video on how I would invest if I were 18, 16, whatever, same difference. But I would pick a couple of ETFs to start. I would pick an S&P 500, a dividend, and a growth, and maybe a real estate investment trust. But the pinned video goes over all of them and shows you a couple examples. YOLO-san, do you believe in analyst price targets? No, they're right about 30% of the time. It's just one of the things that I factor into the whole package when I'm looking at a stock. Is it better to just have one S&P 500 ETF as opposed to what? Like two S&P 500 ETFs? You don't need two. I get comments from people all the time saying I bought VOO and SPY. Why? They're the same exact thing. Their holdings are the same. Their growth is the same. Their dividends are the same. Everything is the same. It's not like you're going to get different performance out of one, or I'm going to buy both and see which one does better. They're literally buying the exact same investments. So you only need one. Not to mention that they both have fees. So you're paying fees on two of the exact same thing. Not to mention on top of that, that you're limiting your diversity. If you're spending $100 a month in both, spend $100 a month in one and $100 a month in another type of investment, like a dividend or growth or real estate. Crypto, yes, I like crypto. What's your strategy with investing? Are you buy and hold for 12 to 15 months? Steven, I am buy and hold for the next 10 to 30 years. Do you like Webull for beginners? Frost, I've never used it, so I couldn't tell you. I like TD Ameritrade, which is no longer a thing. It's now part of Schwab. I think Schwab sucks. I've never used an app. I think, honestly, the best thing to do is just go with an established brokerage like a Fidelity or a Schwab or something like that. Because at a certain point, you're going to want more resources and more help and more guidance and more education and all that stuff. And those websites just offer more anyway, and they're all free. None of them charge fees or commissions to buy and sell. So you might as well just go with the established one off the bat. Do you have a favorite board game company? No, I don't. But I think Hasbro or Mattel would be two that I would look at, but I don't think they're great stocks. How about Hood? Not a big fan of Robinhood. Thoughts on PayPal and is NVIDIA? I like PayPal. I think I think there's some competition right now with Apple and some of the other credit card companies that are doing similar things. But I don't own it. I don't know if I would even bother buying it. Maybe I'd buy a little bit of one, like a Square or PayPal, just to have a little exposure in my portfolio. But right now, it's not of interest to me. Meowzabub says, thoughts on AEW? I like AEW, but I think there's no competing with WWE right now. And if they sign MJF, forget it. It's all over. Show us the NVIDIA trade you made. No. Do you recommend Webull for beginners? D-King is good. More states legalizing sports betting. Yes. What about Intel? I think they're just kind of whatever. Crypto, I've answered your question already. Blah, 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 blah. Lithium stock's been doing bad. I agree. Thoughts on Enbridge? I think it's a very high dividend paying company. Let's see. Enbridge is $34 right now. It's down 9% last year. It's down 3% this year. However, they do pay a really solid dividend of 7.6%, and they have a dividend safety grade of B-. They have 5-year growth of 4.72%, which is pretty good. I didn't have a wrestling name. I mean, I've never made it that far, unfortunately. What, if any, dividends do you enjoy? I like all the boring stuff like Altria. I have Ford stock in my portfolio. Why don't you trade options? I lose too much money. Can you get Bloom stocks for discount? It shows how your portfolio is diversified to the public. Can you get a Bloom for stocks account? It shows how your portfolio is diversified to the public. I don't share my portfolio, and I have one very simple reason as to why. This channel is for education and to teach people how to invest, not to just copy what I've done. So I've gotten emails over the last few years from companies that say, hey, we want to hire you to make a partnership, to make a sponsored post. We'll pay you a couple $1,000, make one video and say, hey, you can go and copy the trades of these social media influencers, or you can go and copy the trades of all these hedge funds people. And I always turn them down because the point of my channel is to teach you how to be self-sufficient, not to just copy. You learn nothing from copying. Do you own New and SoFi? I own SoFi. I don't own New. Walmart versus Costco. There's a video in my stock fight playlist. Walmart versus Costco. You can check it out there. Let's see. All right, I'm going to jump to the bottom because we got to wrap this thing up soon. I assume, is Amazon good? I think yes. Betty, should people check their stocks every day? I'm going to say no. There was an article that came out a few years ago that said that the best investors actually died. That they just bought and held their stuff and they were dead. They're dead now, but they didn't look. They just bought it and held their stuff forever. I think if you are buying and looking every single day, you will freak yourself out. I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's see here. 2 days ago, Kava was $53 a share. The very next day, it was $50. So it dumped. It lost $3. Then the very next day, it was $48. Then the very next day, it was $49. Now today, it's $50. So in a couple of days, it went from 53 to 50 to 48 to 50 again. You're going to drive yourself crazy looking every day. That's my opinion. You'll drive yourself nuts. I know a lot of new investors will pull the trigger. They'll get in at 53. It'll be 47. They'll go, oh no, and they'll sell. And then the next day it'll be 50 again. Now, it's different for every investor. I look every day, but it's because it's my career and I have a better understanding of risk and risk management. I'm seeing a comment here from someone else saying, Ranger John saying, I look every day. It's really what's best for you. If you're the type of investor who would get nervous, then maybe you don't look every day. It also depends on what you're investing in too. If you're investing in highly speculative companies that are very, very risky, then yes, you should probably check every day so something doesn't happen where the stock goes down 40% in 2 days and you had no idea. If you're investing in index funds predominantly, then I would think you're probably fine. Most people don't even look. They look once a year when the statement comes for taxes and they go, oh, I'm up or oh, I'm down, whatever. Is Rivian a buy? I can't tell you. What's your 2023 return? I don't know. Priscilla, why don't you trade options? I lose my money. Thoughts on McDonald's for very long term. I like McDonald's. They pay a really good dividend. They have a lot of growth overseas or a lot of exposure overseas. They have 30,000 locations. They own almost all their real estate. So it's a great diversified company in and of itself. They have exposure to real estate and they have food. Can you take 10,000 and turn it into $1 million in 3 years? Maybe. I don't share my net worth. What about new price targets for NVIDIA to 900? I think it's very realistic in the next year that NVIDIA could be over 1,000. Hey, Kenneth, is it a good idea to sell my NVIDIA stock today? What do you think? I can't give you financial advice. I'm holding mine if it means anything. I bought mine at $125 a share and I'm not taking any profits because I'm holding with the plan of holding NVIDIA for the next 10, 20, or 30 years. So I'm not selling a bit. But if you're nervous and you want to lock in some gains, you can. You don't have to sell your whole position, by the way. If you have 100 shares or 10 shares, you could sell 2, you could sell 25, you could sell whatever you want. I think a big mistake is people see a huge gain and they go, I got to take all these profits. You don't have to do that. You could take some if you wanted to. My style of investing is predominantly focused on tech and growth with a smaller amount in dividends and ETFs. But it's different for every investor. I think for most new investors, it's probably just easier and a safer bet. I like this and I like looking at individual stocks. Most people don't care. They just say, give me a couple ETFs. So just get a couple ETFs. Why don't you like trading on Robinhood? I've never traded on Robinhood, so I can't tell you if it's good or not. I know back then, a long time ago, Robinhood would charge you extra to be able to look at charts and stuff like that. And you can just get them for free on any other brokerage. So why would I pay? But I've never traded on Robinhood, so I couldn't tell you. Thoughts on AMD? I think it's going to be fine long term. I think all the semiconductor stocks are going to do well in the future because of the desire or need for AI and smart technology. Eli Lilly, it's been up massive, but I can't tell you if you should buy it or not. If you buy and hold stocks, how do you get additional funding for stocks? Through my job. I make money in a job just like everybody else. Who's your favorite entertainer and why is it The Undertaker? Shawn Michaels, greatest of all time. And his greatest 2 matches of all time, well, I don't know if I can say, I don't know. His matches with The Undertaker at WrestleMania were both incredible matches. Is Amazon a buy? I think it is, but I can't tell you. Dave's Killer Bread is yummy. I've heard that, but I don't know if they're publicly traded. Is time in the market better than timing the market? Yes. How much did you make from Meta? A lot. I was able to sell some of the shares and buy my home. Thank you. I'm here for the first time and I'm learning a lot. Classy lady. Thank you. Lucky Strike, you're saying, what was the stock NVIDIA bought again? It's SoundHound, but the symbol is SOUN. Is O a suitable long-term investment? I think so. I think all real estate, I think real estate investment trusts are meant to be long-term investments because they pay many of them pay monthly dividends that snowball for many, many years. So I like Realty Income. I think the pro is passive income and monthly dividends. The con is that you're probably not going to get a lot of growth. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap this live up. I will be live on Sunday at 10 a.m. Are you familiar with a tax strategist? If so, where did you find them? I mean, I have like an accountant, but it's just someone that my family has used. And I said, hey, can I hire you too? Why is NVIDIA buying stocks in AI stocks? Probably because they want exposure to that company and it's cheaper for them to just invest in the company than do whatever that company is doing. ARM, we've talked about a little bit. I like it. I don't own it. Their 1-year price target is what I'll do. And then we're going to wrap this live up. We'll go ARM is the last question that I'm going to answer. And then I'll be live on Sunday at 10 a.m. again. ARM has a 1-year price target of $100. It is currently $132. So they've blown past that price target. Their next price target is $130. They've blown past that one as well. It's currently $132. There are no new price targets on ARM, but they've blown past all of the previous price targets. There are 15 analysts covering it, 1 sell, 4 holds, 10 buys. All right, everybody, I'm going to wrap this live up. If I didn't answer your question, you can come back on Sunday at 10 a.m., or you can send me a DM, or you can ask me a question on one of my videos, and I will talk to you guys later. Hey, TD Ranch, hello. All right, bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.